कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदना ब्रज जनरंजना यशोदानंदना ब्रज जनरंजना जमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जना वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन भज जनरंजना यशोदानंदन भज जनरंजना जमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की इस्कॉन बीबड़ी संस्थापक आचार्य श्री प्रभुपाद की जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की नाम आचार्य चल हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की श्री मथुरा धाम की श्री नवदीप मायापुर धाम की पुरुषोत्तम यत जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा मैया की जमुना मैया की भक्ति देवी की श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की कलयुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की ताई गौर प्रेमानंदी all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So as ordered by our temple management, we are on the third day of our Gaur Katha festival. We began with Gaur Katha given by His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj on Gaur Purnima day, and also we had in the evening. Yesterday we had Gaur Katha by His Grace Shyamananda Prabhu and the holy festival for Sri Sri Radha Gopijan Vallabh in the evening. And today also we will continue with two sessions, this one and the Sunday feast given by His Grace Revatipati Prabhu from Pune. I have chosen one chapter. It was a desire to understand how this Chaitanya Charitamrita book was written, how did it come. So I thought I would use this morning session as an excuse to enlighten myself and hopefully you could be the concomitant beneficiaries. The primary target is my own heart and its purification. So in the Adi Leela, Adi is the beginning, Madhya is the middle, and Anta is the end. It's a very historical thing for Mahaprabhu's movement, and it continues to be so. In our short time together, we will try to see the historical development of recording the pastimes as to how it was carried out. And it continued up to Srila Prabhupada's printing of this Chaitanya Charitamrita. That also is a very historical thing. Very important for all of us who say that we are followers of Srila Prabhupada. This is the 8th chapter And it has some very, very significant points which are clarified by Srila Prabhupada as to who can write transcendental literature. What is the potency involved? How does one go about doing that? Can anybody and everybody write about Krishna? Will that be effective? And what is the purpose? Prabhupada also discusses the importance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu being worshipped in 5 features. Yesterday I was seeing some material about today's class, and I found this class online by His Holiness Devamrit Swami Maharaj, and we normally say God is one, right? Especially in India, the favorite thing for so many decades, especially among Mayavadis, personalists, Ishwar ek hai, there is only one God. So he said, we are introducing the concept of God is 5. You say, one I can't fathom properly and now you are making it 5? How do we understand that? So that Pancha Tattva, 5 Tattva, 5 truths, Prabhupada, this is the beginning of the Adi Leela, so Prabhupada makes it very clear. And it has about 85 shlokas, and in these 85 verses, the whole story of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he is writing Chaitanya Charitamrita in his late 90s. He's past 94, 95 years old. And later he says, it's a wonder I am writing. I can't see what I am writing. My hands are trembling and still I write. This is the mercy. So let's begin. Those of you who read Chaitanya Charitamrita, or those who wish to, it's a very special thing about this book that all of the chapters, they begin with one unique shloka specifically composed for that chapter by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Every shloka has, every chapter has that. So the chapter is entitled by Prabhupada, the author receives the orders of Guru, of Krishna and Guru. So we will chant the first verse. Vande Chaitanya Devam Tam Bhagavantam Yadichaya Prasabham Nartyate Chitram Lekharange Jadopi Ayam Vande Chaitanya Devam Tam Bhagavantam Yadichaya Prasabham Nartyate Chitram Lekharange Jadopyayam Vande Chaitanya Devam Tam Bhagavantam Yadichaya Prasabham Nartyate Chitram Lekharange Jadopyayam. Vande Chaitanya Devam Tam Bhagavantam Yadichaya Prasabham Nartyate Chitram Lekharange Jadopyayam Vande Chaitanya Devam Tam Lekharange Jadopyayam Vande Chaitanya Devam Tam Bhagavantam Yadichaya Prasabam Nartyate Chitram Lekharange Jadopyayam. Mataji's. Vande Chaitanya Devam Tam Bhagavantam Yadichaya Ekarange Jadopyayam Vande Chaitanya Devam Tam Bhagavantam Yadichaya Prasabam Nartyate Chitram Lekharange Jadopyayam Vande. I offer my respectful obeisances Chaitanya Devam unto Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Tam, Him, Bhagavantam, the personality of Godhead, Yatichaya, by whose desires, Prasabam, all of a sudden, Nartyate, dancing, Chitram, wonderfully, Lekharange, in the matter of writing, Jada, dull fool, Api, although, I am this. Translation: I offer my respects to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by whose desire I have become like a dancing dog and suddenly taken to the writing of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, although I am a fool. So this kind of sets the tone for Mahaprabhu's devotees and whatever they do in life. It's a combination of two greatly opposing emotions. Mahaprabhu is so great, Krishna is so great that he can do anything, and I am such a fool. In fact, when you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, you almost feel like the author has some kind of a neurosis, some kind of mental issue. Why do you think yourself so low? In this material world, the flow of thought is just the opposite. And especially with the information age, with everything available on your gadget, so many videos, so many talks, so many lectures, so many books, so many speakers. Yes, you can do it. I saw a illustration where there is a cat looking in a mirror, and from the mirror there is a lion looking out. So that's what the world wants you to believe. Don't think so low of yourself. You can do it. Yes, you can achieve it. While we have a very, very starkly opposite heartfelt emotion expressed by these acharyas. And the wonderful thing is, look at their output, look at the literature they have created, look at the legacy they have established, look at the effect they have put on this material world. So after every verse, as I was saying, after every first verse, which is a composition of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, invariably then there is glorification of the other members of the Panchatattva. Jaya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Gaura Chandra Jaya Jaya Paramananda Jaya Nityananda Jaya Jaya Dvaita Acharya Kripamoy Jaya Jaya Gadadhara Pandit Mahashoy Jai Jai Srivasadi Jata Bhaktagan Pranata Hoya Vando Sabara Charan. He has expressed his thoughts in the first verse. Then he says, let me offer my respectful obeisance unto Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is known as Gaurasundar. I also offer my respectful obeisance unto Nityananda Prabhu, who is always very joyful. Let me offer my respectful obeisance unto Advaita Acharya, who is very merciful, and also to that great personality Gadadhar Pandit, the learned scholar. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto Srivas Thakur and all the other devotees of the Lord. I fall down to offer them respect. I worship their lotus feet. Panchatattva is, from the theological point of view, one of the most significant concepts for bhakti life or for spiritual life. Spiritual life, in one sense, it's not very difficult or not very, not impossible to understand. Simplest definition of spiritual life is the opposite of material life. What is material life? Ahar, Nidra, Bhay, Maithun. To eat, sleep, procreate, and defend. This is prevalent in all species of life. Then what is spiritual life? Something which goes beyond these four animal functions. And especially in India, so many different ways of how to go beyond these four propensities. The famous word used in the Vedanta Sutra or in the Vedas is Brahma. We have Brahma Samhita, which we just sang. We have Brahmanda Puran. Brahmanda means this universe. We have Lord Brahma. In the social sector, we have a Brahmana. Is there any commonality between these words? The root is Brihat, big. So Brahma means very large intelligence. Brahmanda, the big universe with millions and millions of Milky Ways, with millions and billions of stars and millions and trillions and quadrillions of planets. That's just one Brahmanda. In the social atmosphere, a Brahmana is one who has a very big heart. What is the opposite of a Brahmana? A Kripana, a miser. A miser is somebody who doesn't use his assets. He opens his treasury. Very nice. Closes it. But a miser, a Brahmana or a broad-minded person is somebody who uses that treasury or uses that assets. What is the treasury here? The human form of life. So the human form of life used only for eat, sleep, mate, defend, that makes you a Kripana. So what makes you a Brahmana? Dasharath Maharaj sees Vishwamitra Muni coming in his palace. And as per the training given to these kings, the king gets down, comes out of his comfortable throne, his sitting position. And he tells the Rishi, You sit here. So two things can be seen here. The king has no experience of standing. Every time he comes, he is sitting in his throne. Why should he take such a humble position? And this rishi is always sitting on deer skin in caves, in some jungle, some forest. What business does he have to sit on a throne? He does it out of humility, he does it out of his duty. The king feels that if this Maharaj sits on my throne, he will make it pure. I will be ruling my citizens properly. And this Maharaj, both are Maharaj, right? King is Maharaj and this Rishi also is a Maharaj. So the king has a kingdom, because that's why it's called Maharaj, a big king, Maharaj. What is the kingdom of this Rishi? One poet said, that kingdom which lies between the 2 ears, which means your own skull. And there you have vast jungles and fierce creatures, man-eating lions and tigers and deadly cobras in the form of lust, anger, greed. So these political kings would say that we use our police force to curb dacoits and thieves and antisocial elements. You are a bigger king than us. You have to daily battle your inner dacoits, inner thieves. Kama krodha dui, kama krodha batapada dui. Our Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings in one of his, I think Narottam Das Thakur or Bhaktivinoda Thakur, one of them, he prays that Kama Krodha, they are like two thieves. They are waiting for a unsuspecting person to come on a jungle road and then beat him to death and take away all his possessions. So Vishwamitra Muni is sitting on that throne, and Dasharath Maharaj humbly says, now what do you ask? Do you ask him, is the Indian economy doing well? Will the Dow Jones or the stock exchange index go up or go down? Will there be rainfall this time? What questions should you ask someone like Vishwamitra Muni? And this is a simple sentence, but it comes so many times in Prabhupada's lectures. Dasharath Maharaj said, how are you progressing on the path of conquering birth and death? Are you making proper progress on the path of conquering next? This body is being given, so it will die. What are you doing so that you don't have to die next time? Punar Janma Jayaya. Are you nicely progressing on the path of conquering Punar Janma? So this is, in essence, it's just one line, one question. This is the essence of what spiritual life is. So whatever you are doing, if it is helping you conquer Punarjanma, then it is spiritual life. If what you are doing makes you feel come again for some material pleasure, then it is a material life. Some people may say, what's wrong with that? In this life, I only went to the hill stations of South India. Next time, I would like to go to North India, then East India, then West India, and then maybe if I have more money, abroad somewhere. I haven't been to Bangkok, Pattaya, I haven't been to Japan, Singapore, so many things I haven't seen. Jayapataka Maharaj wrote to his father that last 13, 14 years I am serving in Mayapur, would you like to come? He said, India? You expect me to come to India? I haven't seen all the 50 American states yet. So it was completely illogical for him. But generally, those who have no knowledge about spiritual life, they feel there is so much to do in this material world. There is so much to explore. Forests to explore, oceans to explore. And this is the illusion. Why? Because this human form of life, if you feel that there is so much to do, the next may not be a human form of life. In one lecture, Prabhupada said, somebody has built a skyscraper. It is mine. My name is on the building. Like this current American president, he likes to put his name everywhere. So he says, my name's on the building. But if you're not careful, next life, you will again come in the same building because you have some attachment. But you could be a cockroach in the toilet. Prabhupada's words. You could be a cockroach in the commode. Will then the janitor or the liftman or the concierge, will they respect you? Will they bring you out of that and say, sir, would you like to take your original suite? The presidential one is there waiting for you. No. So that is the risk. One, we may not be able to come to the atmosphere which we are so attached. And two, even if we come, it could be in such degraded species. So that is the danger of having only a materialistic goal in your life. So, okay, somebody may say, all right, I agree, I would like to make my life spiritual. What do I do? How do I begin? Whom should I worship? What should I do? What should I not do? In fact, sometimes people say that previously my life was troublesome but simple. Now I have joined this movement and so many rules and so many regulations. Why? What's the purpose? So Prabhupada would always say, Krishna consciousness means training. It's a training process. It's not a pill culture. You take some pill, take a glass of water and spiritual. No. It takes some training. As you begin your spiritual life, the way the Bhagavad Gita is given, the Bhagavad Gita, almost everybody respects it. Even those who don't follow it, they also respect it. Even those who don't want to accept those things which Krishna said, as once Prabhupada said, they know this commodity is pure gold. So there are people who are businessmen, lawyers, politicians, and whatnot, poets. They have given my thoughts on the Bhagavad Gita. We have the Gita as it is. I'm not making it up. There is an Indian gentleman who wrote the Gita as it was. And it's in direct competition with Prabhupada's books. Yeah. So Shivram Swami, he wrote this very technical book on the logic of the Bhaktivedanta purports. He said this also shows how Krishna is all attractive. Krishna is all attractive to devotees, also to asuras. Because they would like to cut down Prabhupada's Krishna's purports, Krishna's concepts. So they have to write a book on Bhagavad Gita only. I met a man outside this Bharati Vidya Bhavan many years ago. We were distributing books. He said the original Gita was only 12 shlokas. I said, really? So what about the other 688? He said they were added later. He said there was not much time to speak all these verses. And this is the fruit of 25 years of study of Bhagavad Gita, he said. Can you imagine? I don't claim to have read the Gita every day for the last 25 years. In fact, for many devotees, the sad truth is the Gita is as it is. It is there somewhere. Like in the West, this is not, I hope it doesn't happen in India, but this Bible salesman, he went to a house, the lady opened the door, and he said, would you like to buy this? She said, no, I don't think so. We have any interest in this. So he said, but I see there is a Bible over there in that cupboard. So she said, how do you make it? By the dust on the book. It is carrying so much of dust, that means it has been touched yet. So I know that's a Bible over there, third shelf, see. So once somebody decides to come on the platform of spirituality, again there are challenges. There is a verse in the Bhagavad Gita where Prabhupada clarifies this. Vita raga bhaya krodha manmaya mam upashrita. Sometimes people are angry at the conception of God being impersonal. Sometimes they are angry that why Krishna didn't make spiritual life simple? Why so many rules, so many regulations, so many protocols? So it's a fact that coming to authentic spiritual life, it takes some brains. And that's why Panchatattva, they come not with so much of rules and regulations and knowledge, but with compassion. So the next concept which we are going to see is, what is this Panchatattva? Pancha means 5, fairly simple. Tattva means truth. In the first Adi Leela part 1, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has composed a shloka which goes like this. Pancha tattva eka vastu nahi kichu bhed. Rasa aswadite tabu vividha bibhed. And we have this mantra, Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Panchatattva, now this is a bit technical for those of you who are hearing for the first time, but it is important. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is described as the form of a devotee. Nityananda Prabhu is described as the devotee's spiritual master or Bhakta Swarup. Advaita Acharya is described as the incarnation, Bhakta incarnation. Gadadhar Pandit is the energy or the potency of a devotee. And Srivas is the pure devotee. Now that doesn't mean others are not pure, but there's a reason why Srivas is called the pure devotee. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu and Advaita Acharya, they are Vishnu Tattvas. They come in the category of Sri Vishnu. Gadadhar Pandit is in the category of the energy of Vishnu. He is the incarnation of Radharani, he is the incarnation of Bhakti potency. And Srivas is the only Jiva member of the Panchatattva. These 5 from one angle are not different from each other. But they all cooperate as a team. They all are together. Rasa aswadite. Now this is something which we all will agree. Even though we may not understand the technicalities, we all want rasa. The rest of India calls it gulab jamun, but the Bengalis call it rasgulla. Now, what is the value of a gulab jamun without its juice? Or a rasagulla without the ras? So, simply put, it's very interesting how in the early days of the Hare Krishna movement, Srila Prabhupada would keep a big transparent glass jar of gulab jamuns. Actually, these would be floating, and it would be at the door. And whoever wants to leave, you can take one. Now, it happened, we don't know so many people, but those who were there in those days, that people would eat and go out and would say that just chanting is okay, morning Mangalarti and other things, but some of the rules and regulations are too much. But then after 3 or 4 days, they would come back for the gulab jamun. And one day hearing some stories as to how some people came back, Prabhupada said, yes, these are ISKCON bullets. And the target is your heart. So, it's a fact that we are in this Kali Yuga, we don't have so much of intelligence, we don't have so much of interest. Like one hippie, he stood out in a class Prabhupada was giving, and he said, question, Swamiji, you said, if I am not careful, I could become a dog in my next life. Prabhupada said, yes, that's a fact. I don't mind. Prabhupada said, okay, you are my blessings. So if this is the level in this age that people say, I am going to hell, what does it matter to you? You are going to Goloka, fine, enjoy there. I'll enjoy my life in hell. Which clearly shows that we don't have any understanding of what hell actually means. Although some of the tortures in hell are experienced by us in daily life. So, something drastic has to be done. Something really, really revolutionary. And that's what the Panchatattva did. There are some examples. The earliest one is, in my memory, is we had a program at Madan Mohan Prabhu's place. Is he here today, Madan Mohan Prabhu? No, he's not come. So this was Madan Mohan Prabhu, the famous hotel Hindamata. Before our Govindas, that was our place for relishing some South Indian snacks. He would invite all the brahmacharis and Maharaj also. That time there would be no other customers. And so at his residence, Gaurnitai were invited and they were installed with lot of kirtan. And in his class, Maharaj said, now that you have invited, they are here. They will never go away. Even if you don't feed them for the rest of your life, they will not leave. And I was completely surprised as to, if you have a house guest and if you give him tea or coffee 20 minutes late, that's considered an offense, isn't it? Or among the 5-6 items you are serving, the dal is a little bit cold, that's considered an offense. So we have so much of fastidiousness about how something has to be just sweet and just right and just salty. And here we are inviting Gaurnitai. And Maharaj said, of course, you will offer them, right? So he said, oh, yes, yes. So I'm sure the Seva Puja is still being continued. But that is the mood of Gaurnitai. The important point is that whoever invites them, Srila Prabhupada told one of his disciples, Dhananjay Prabhu, that he said, you Westerners, when you go to some place, you like to purchase souvenirs. You go to some place in Italy and they say, oh, this is the traditional dress of this particular province. So there are dolls available in shops and people purchase those dolls and they keep them in their drawing room. As, oh, this doll reminds that we had gone to this place in Italy or that place in Switzerland or whatever. Prabhupada told Dhananjay Prabhu, you make Gaur Nitai dolls and let people purchase them. And he may say, but they might treat them like ordinary dolls. Prabhupada said, never mind. They are Gaur Nitai. They will bring out the pure devotional things from the Jiva's heart. That's what they are here for in this Kali Yuga. Conway Hall is a small hall in London, and that time devotees didn't have much money, but they had kept 3 or 4 days of Prabhupada's classes. You can check it out. It's there in the Veda base. How does one worship the Panchatattva? Prabhupada said, take one picture of Panchatattva. He says, anybody can afford it. Simple photo. Keep it in your house and chant Hare Krishna in front of them. That's all. There cannot be any other simpler mode of satisfying the Supreme Lord. There cannot be any more uncomplicated way of performing bhakti, performing real spiritual life than this. There is this famous small shortest class given by Prabhupada, one of the shortest ones. He came to Atlanta, he saw Gaur Nitai, he sang Parama Karuna, and then devotees were surprised. Prabhupada started saying, these two brothers are from Gaudadesh, Bengal, and now they are traveling all over the world. They are so merciful, and he broke down. He could not continue. So this is the importance of Panchatattva. In the beginning, Prabhupada would stress the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, that one should chant Hare Krishna before every bhajan, every kirtan. And later he added, this comes in a CC purport, Chaitanya Charitamrita purport, that this Panchatattva mantra should always be chanted before we begin chanting Hare Krishna. So we have to begin our chanting every round with Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. And then we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The logic behind this is the Panchatattva does not recognize any offense. While Radha Krishna worship, serious consideration is given for offenses. One cannot just buy Radha Krishna deities and start worshipping them. Ideally, one should not. In fact, even in our ISKCON temples, Prabhupada said the standard is how we should worship Lakshmi Narayan. Because for Lakshmi Narayan worship, punctuality and cleanliness. These two things are important. Prabhupada even discouraged that one should have real gold, rubies and other jewelry for the deities. Sometimes devotees say, why? You look at Tirupati, look at Udupi, they have pure gold. Prabhupada gave 2 reasons. He said the first one is a little embarrassing. He said our people are not trained enough. The pujari himself or herself may be tempted to take something. So he says our people are new and they are not trained enough. And secondly, he said we may attract thieves, which is a fact. So therefore, punctuality and cleanliness. Radhanath Maharaj, when he was a pujari, in one class he disclosed how in the simple New Vrindavan temple there was not much of any gadgets, or there was one cassette player which would play the Brahma Samhita for every Shringar Darshan, and there was a small clock. But he said the joy was that if Mangalarti is at 4:30, so then 4 4:29:59, you are there, and at exactly 4:30, you blow the conch shell. So you just have the satisfaction that we are doing it. Like Mangalarti need not be like a space shuttle launch. They also have delays sometimes, but whatever. But it's like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast. But the satisfaction that we are doing everything punctually and keeping everything clean, that is the Lakshmi Narayan standard. And that is the basic standard for worship. And later, because Radha Krishna is never worshipped according to strict rules and regulations. There is so much of bhav. Bhav means the pujari has to have that pure desire. I was in one temple in Vrindavan and there was something to do in the afternoon. So the head pujari said, but we should be opening 2 hours late. So I said, why? He said, there was so much of bhoga offered to Thakurji that he has to be given extra rest today. So I said, wow. So then I got clarification that yes, these temples, they have that sentiment. So it is good, because that's what the whole thing is. But when we don't have that sentiment, at least we have punctuality and cleanliness. So whether you are a householder or whether you are a brahmachari in the temple, we can always follow that simple rule. So the Panchatattva does not expect anything. All 5 are already mad in love of God. They are so happy, they are so joyful, they are so blissful. So when we read the pastimes of the Panchatattva, we understand that this particular incarnation has only come to give. Not looking at who is qualified, who is unqualified. Not looking at whether this is a proper place or this is an improper place. Whether this is a proper time to chant Hare Krishna, nothing. It's like an emergency and this thing has to be given. That is the mode of the Panchatattva. After explaining to the readers the importance of the Panchatattva, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami then goes to the understanding of the holy name. What exactly is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra? And there he cautions that somebody might be chanting for a very long time, and I actually feel that when I was reading that, I felt like he is addressing me. What is the reason that you could be chanting for a very long time and not feeling the juice, not feeling the rasa? I see so many sympathetic faces here. His Grace Rabindranath Prabhu, he addressed this in one of his seminars. He said that how many people felt that the first kirtan they attended was so ecstatic, was so nice. Nowadays, I don't feel that much interested in going. There's a big rousing kirtan going on and I'll better hear, I'll sit in the next hall and... Why? What happened? Did Krishna run out of mercy a little bit? Or is the fact that so many devotees have joined and mercy is only this much, so it is to be rationed? So, no. Krishna is unlimited. Unlimited devotees can join the kirtan and get unlimited bliss. This theory also began among devotees that in the beginning Krishna gives mercy free of charge. As if he's some kind of a geo manager who likes to entice you with 1 GB data, 6,000 movies, 4 crore songs. I read that in the poster. I don't know whether they're actually giving it that like that. But and no charge till next March. And by that time, people are already addicted, and he says, okay, now only 99 rupees for a week. And then slowly it grows. But by the time you're addicted, you have to shell out the money. So does Krishna do something like that? That he gives you free, and then he says, next Janmashtami, say charge. So Rabindranath Prabhu says, no, there is no evidence anywhere in the Shastra that even this is true, that in the beginning you get real juice and afterwards you get a little bit watered down, or you have to pay. So what is the secret then? He said there is only one concept. It's a bit painful to admit, but that concept is the concept of aparad. Like in the beginning, you are just sinful. But after some time, you are a little bit sinful plus aparadi both. I'm sorry, I am also with you. I'm not trying to pinpoint anyone. His Holiness Radha Govind Maharaj, while discussing Ajamil Katha, he says, Ajamil was a pure sinful soul. Ajamil Shuddha Papi tha. You may say, what kind of reasoning is this? He said he was just sinful. He didn't commit any offenses. Offenses are committed when somebody is in the know, somebody has some knowledge. So in order to commit Vaishnava Aparad, you have to join the Vaishnava community. Before joining the community, there is no Vaishnava Aparad because there is no understanding of who is a Vaishnava or who is not. So the aparad is the reason, and aparad could be Nam Aparad, Seva Aparad, Vaishnava Aparad, Guru Aparad, so many different kinds of aparads. And they prevent the flow of bliss or the flow of ecstasy coming in our lives. And that's why we feel after some time why it is so hard to chant, why it is so difficult to bring ourselves to the association of devotees, why it is so difficult to just sit and concentrate. Sometimes we may also get a bit impulsive as to how long should I wait? In the second verse of the Shikshashtak, when Mahaprabhu says, Durdaivam idrisha mihajani na anuraga. So that Durdaivam, a simple translation is, I am unfortunate. But in the Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said, I am unfortunate because of the offenses I have committed. So there is no luck in Krishna consciousness. Why is he a pure devotee? I think he's lucky. No. Even in the materialistic world, there are businessmen who say, the harder I work, the luckier I get. So they also know there is nothing like sheer pure luck. So certainly among the association of devotees also, the more we become clear about the presence of offenses in our heart, and that also we can pray to the Panchatattva for clearing those offenses. So they are here. Mahaprabhu does not recognize any offense. Nityananda Prabhu doesn't recognize any offense. Then comes the concept of, can we use our logic in understanding who Mahaprabhu is? Now there are, I'm sure among this whole class, there are few who said, logic, nah, I'm not a logician. I'm a simple person. I came to the temple, I saw Radha Gopinath, I was so happy. And then I took some prasad, then I saw the devotees, and I met somebody, and I found him such a good friend, and I'm happy. While somebody who's of a different sort may say, how lucky. The day I joined in or the day I picked up a book, I always was wondering whether, is there any logic behind this? Why do you don't use this finger? What's the logic? Why a bag? Why only 108? Why you offer pranam like this here and then like this here? And these are all my problems basically. I had all these questions, and I keep on reading. I still have this desire that can we understand Krishna's worship based on logic and reasoning? Mercifully, yes. Here, in the 15th verse of this 8th chapter, Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami says, don't worry, if you are of a logical kind, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Daya Karaha Vichar Karite Chitte Pabe Chamatkar. If you are indeed interested in logic and argument, kindly apply it to the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If you do so, you will find it to be strikingly wonderful. So, being a logician is not a disadvantage, but don't overdo it. Logic has its limits. Mahabharata says it very succinctly. Tarko apratishtha. Tarka doesn't have a foundation. For some things, tarka will never work. Some things it may work. There was a village oilman. He used to make oil from sesame seeds, nut, ground nut. So you have to put that in a particular machine, and there is a bull which goes round and round and round. Nowadays it is very rare, but that's how it was. The whole thing is made from wood. And the bull has his eyes closed so that he may get vertigo otherwise. Or dizzy, not vertigo, that's because of height, but dizzy. One logician visited this particular thing. And he asked the fellow, so how much oil you make per day? So he said, about 20 liters. He says, that's good. So this bull goes around this machine for 8 hours? He said, yeah. Then he said, what if the bull stops? Because I see that you are not here all the time monitoring. So he says, can't you see I have put a bell? I have put this garland of small bells, make a jingling sound. Galang, 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 galang. So he said, really, is that simple? That when the bull goes around, then it makes making that jingling sound? Then he said, what if the bull stops at his place and just moves his neck like that? You are not here, so you won't understand. You might feel he's working, and you are out there somewhere in the other room. So he says he's an animal, he's not a logician. So, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was a Nyayika. He was the boss of all logicians. He went to Mithila. Mithila was the place of Navanyaya. Nowadays, what kind of reputation you have in Stanford, MIT, Yale, Oxford, Cambridge, IITs, IIMs, much more than that. And they would not give any books. Of course, that time there were Pothi or Bhojapatra, but they would not allow any written material to come out of that college. Sarvabhauma, he went there, he memorized all those thousands of logical concepts, came out and started his own academy in Vidyanagari. That's how people used to do. So, intellectual property is an issue even from 500 years ago. He was such a staunch Vedantist, such a staunch logician. And of course, it's a long past time. We will not go in so much of detail. He saw Mahaprabhu. He said, "You are such a young, handsome sannyasi. How will you be able to maintain this? Do you know why you took sannyas?" And Mahaprabhu just according to the rasa, which was the emotions coming out of Sarvabhauma's heart, he said, I think I made a mistake. So he said, now it's irreversible. Now you can't go and give your sannyas back. So, do you know Vedanta? So he said, who's your guru? Keshav Bharti. So, Bharti. Now you and me, we don't know what Bharti is. But if somebody tells you, no, I did my engineering. From what? From Maharashtra Institute of Dhebewadi. You said, where is it? Oh, it's about 380 kilometers from Pune, and there is a small ghat, and there is this. All right, you take another 6 months course here. We'll see whether, so many institutes have sprung up all over. There was this airline boom. I'm sorry to digress a little bit, but there were so many institutes which were teaching you how to be a pilot, and for 2 years they never went inside a cockpit, or they never saw an airplane. So how do you become a pilot if you have not flown anything? But there was a demand. So many institutes, like mushrooms, they came up. So out of extreme care and affection for this young sannyasi, if Mahaprabhu would have taken a stance that, let us debate, that would have brought out the worst in Sarvam Bhattacharya's mindset. And Mahaprabhu could have defeated him. And operation successful, patient is dead. The problem was not to just have a successful operation. So sometimes we preach, I defeated him. And he has taken a vow never to come into a temple again. So that's not the proper way. As they say in Kali Yuga, everybody is already dead. What is the fun in shooting a dead man? We're already dead, materially speaking. So Mahaprabhu took the other route. He said, will you help me? He said, yes. Now you are talking something. So 7 days and 7 nights, not nights, it is just described as 7 days, I hope. They discussed, and like a simple, very, very, a person with average intelligence or with below average, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is just listening. And after that whole discourse, every time Sarvam Bhattacharya would say something, he was feeling, poor fellow, can't understand even this. He said, are you understanding things? You have not asked any questions. You have not said anything about what I have said so far. What is the reason? That was the golden moment. So Mahaprabhu said, I know Sanskrit. Like in Bombay we know Hindi. That was how people would know Sanskrit at that time. Nothing very special about that. Yeah, that's simple. So he said the meanings are clear. I can make out. I can understand. He said, you mean to say the meanings are clear and you still can't understand? He said the meanings of the concepts given by Vyasadeva, they are like the dazzling noontime sun. And he said, so? Your explanations. What about my explanations? They are like a deep, dark cloud which is covering everything. There was a moment's silence. What could happen? Third World War? Now Sarvam Bhattacharya said, okay, which particular thing you are saying that is my explanation is clouding everything? And then Mahaprabhu brought his intellectual weaponry. He says, this. He gave so many different explanations of the Atmaram verse. He talked about so many other things. That time, for the first time, Sarvam Bhattacharya was defeated and was happy about it. I think there comes a stage in all of our lives that we read Prabhupada's purports or we ask a doubt about something, we get thoroughly defeated, but we have to be happy about it. History repeats itself. Srila Prabhupada said, when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur defeated me, I was happy about it. The first thing he told Narendranath Malik, is Mahaprabhu's moment is in safe hands. In that short discussion, Srila Prabhupada was wearing khadi. Nowadays, if you wear khadi, you may say, too much money, you're wasting, it's expensive. But that time, khadi meant a statement. You no longer want to have the British way of life, or you don't want to have modern education. You are aligned with the independence movement. Wearing khadi was a statement. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, everything can wait, but not Krishna consciousness. I found this very nice sloka. I hope you may like it. Na vayam kavayo na tarkika, na cha vedanta nitanta paraga, na cha vadi nivaraka param, kapata bhir kishore kinkara. Ladies and gentlemen, we are not poets. We are not logicians. We are not philosophers. We haven't crossed the shores of Vedanta. We are not debaters. Who are we then? We are servants of a rascal cowherd boy. Kapata abhir kinkara kishore. Who is saying this? Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya. See the transformation. From staying on the pinnacle of the mountain of logic, he is now writing this kind of poetry. I'm not a debater, I'm not a logician, I'm not a philosopher. I am just trying to be a servant of this rascal coward boy. Of course, rascal is said in an endearing way, of course. So far, if we take we have less time, an assessment of what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has done in this 8th chapter. He has established that we should worship Panchatattva. He has described who they are. He has described the holy name. There is a long section which I am not covering now. It's about the 10 Namaparas and how to avoid, but we discussed that topic. But Mahaprabhu's Leela is important. We have to read it. So therefore in the 33rd verse he says, "Oh fools, just read Chaitanya Mangal." You may say, this is your book and you are talking about some other book. That is also proper Vaishnava etiquette. In the 33rd verse, he is exhorting his readers, "Aure Moodaloka, Shuna Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya Mahima Jate Janibe Sakal." Oh fools, just read Chaitanya Mangal. By reading this book, you can understand all the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As Vyasdev has compiled all the pastimes of Lord Krishna in Srimad Bhagavatam, Thakur Vrindavan Das has depicted the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. He has composed Chaitanya Mangal. Here in this book annihilates all misfortune. By reading this, you can understand the glories and truths of Lord Chaitanya Nityananda and come to the ultimate conclusion of devotional service to Lord Krishna. So we say, we understand, okay, that means there was one Chaitanya Leela available during that time. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is explaining what is the need for another book. A Vaishnava never writes anything to eclipse a previous Acharya, to say that that book is no longer needed because mine is updated. This is the material world. We are always, if somebody says, can you employ me in your accounting office? I know Microsoft 95, Windows 95. You may say, were you asleep all these years? It's Windows 10 now. Something else also has come? No, 10. In 5 years' time, you'll say Windows 10. So old. That's how it is. Vaishnav life, Vaishnav way of thinking, just see how opposite it is. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is, in his own book, he is saying that book has everything. You may say, if it is everything, then what is the need for this book? So he says, well, what do we do when we embark on a project? It could be anything, a new preaching program, a new construction, new farm, new Govindas, new college preaching. First of all, the blessings of the Vaishnavas. He says, Gadadhar Pandit had a disciple called Anantacharya. This Anantacharya actually is Sudevi Gopi in Krishna Leela. His disciple was Haridas Pandit. And this Haridas Pandit ordered me that in his excitement of narrating Chaitanya Leela, Vrindavan Das Thakur dwelt so much on the Bal Leela, Balakhanda and the other pastimes that many of the later pastimes could not be given because he was fearing this book may become too large and too voluminous. So the South India pastimes, the Vrindavan pastimes, all of these are not there. Then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami talks of Yadavacharya Gosai, Bhugarbha Gosai, Chaitanya Das, the priest of Radha Govinda temple, Mukundanand Chakravarti, Krishna Das, Shivananda Chakravarti. And finally says, so many devotees were telling that I should write, I should write, I should write. That time I had this thought in my mind, maybe I should do something. I'm finding it like I'm speaking, but doesn't mean I have realized everything. As I'm speaking, I'm also getting this little bit of a realization how cautious and how simple is the heart of these acharyas. Although it is such a important literature, he was hesitating. One thing is clear, the Vaishnavas have blessed it. So we are on verse 72 now, only 10 more verses about, approximately. In Vrindavan, there are also many other great devotees who desire to hear the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. By their mercy, all these devotees ordered me to write. Because of their order only, although I am shameless, I have attempted to write this Chaitanya Charitamrita. He is admitting I am shameless. I have said yes. The devotees have kind of given permission. There is one more permission required. The Lord himself. Vaishnavera agyapaya chintita antare madana gopale gela agya magi bare. Having received the order of Vaishnavas but being anxious within my heart, I went to the temple of Madan Mohan in Vrindavan to ask his permission also. When I went there, the Gosai priest was serving the lotus feet of the Lord. I started praying. When I prayed to the Lord for permission, a garland fell from his neck. As soon as this happened, the Vaishnavas standing there all loudly chanted Hari Bol, and the priest Gosai Das brought me the garland and put it around my neck. I was greatly pleased to have the garland signifying the order of the Lord, and then and there I commenced to write the book. Actually, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita is not my writing. He's the author and he's saying it's not my writing. But the dictation of Sri Madan Mohan, my writing is like the repetition of a parrot. Amar likhan jana shukera pathan. Just like a parrot. Sei likhi Madan Gopal je likhai, kasthera putali jana kuha ke nachai. As a wooden doll is made to dance by a magician, I write as Madan Gopal orders me to do so. See the parallel? Srila Prabhupada's mood just before embarking on Commonwealth Pier, Boston Harbor, New York, is I am just like a wooden puppet. Kasthera putali jene nachao se mate. Nachao, nachao, nachao se mate. Twice, thrice Prabhupada is exhorting Krishna, you make me dance. I am here, I am available. In this great literature, the same mood is available. You just make me dance. I accept as my family deity Madan Mohan. Like sometimes people say, who's your Kul Devata? We say, this is our Kul, this is the Devata. Yeah, it's as simple as that. We worship and we respect all demigods, all great personalities. But since our Kula now is this family, this is the Kula Devata, Radha Gopinath. So he's saying, my family deity is Madan Mohan, whose worshippers are Raghunath Das Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. Icing on the cake, the final thing is, Vrindavan dasera pada padma kori dhyan, taragya laya likhi jahate kalyan. Then I took permission from Vrindavan Das Thakur himself. And upon receiving his order, I have attempted to write this auspicious literature. He is the authorized writer on the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. Without his mercies, nobody can describe these pastimes. Murkha, Nicha, Kshudra Mui, Vishaya Lalas, Vaishnav Agya Bale Kari Eteka Sahas. I am foolish, low-born and insignificant, and I always desire material enjoyment, yet by the order of the Vaishnavas, I am greatly enthusiastic to write this transcendental literature. Shri Rupa Raghunath Charane Rei Bal, Jara Smriti Siddha Hoy Vanchita Sakal. The lotus feet of Rupa Goswami and Raghunath Das Goswami are my source of strength. Remembering the lotus feet can fulfill all one's desire. And the signature tune or the signature verse which signs off every chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Shri Rupa Raghunath Pade Jara Ash, Chaitanya Charitamrita Kahe Krishna Das. Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rupa and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishnadas, narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. Just 2 more minutes to relish this pastime of how this book became printed. So Prabhupada's secretary, he told the BBT devotees in Los Angeles that we are arriving there next week. And Srila Prabhupada is angry. He says, the 5th canto is ready. Why it's not being printed? 17 volumes of Chaitanya Charitamrita ready. Why are they not printed? So the telegram said, be ready. So the devotee said, okay. So Prabhupada came. He saw the BBT new machinery. He saw the production schedule. He said, this is all complicated for me. We'll see how complicated it was and how simple Prabhupada's instruction is. So then devotees were told that Prabhupada wants you to go on a walk. That's a nice thing, to have a nice morning walk with Prabhupada. That day it was not nice for at least 2 of those devotees. So Prabhupada began by saying, this issue of delays in printing is worrying me. And Rameshwar Maharaj at that time, he was saying, yes, yes. So the Bhagavatam can wait. I want this Chaitanya Charitamrita as soon as possible. So he had made some calculations. So he said, we require 2 months for one book. We will make it 1 book per month. Double the capacity. And Prabhupada responded with a He didn't understand what that meant. But it's approval, disapproval, or some change. And they again walked on Venice Beach. And then Prabhupada stopped. And he said, I think we should do all 17 books in 2 months. The whole cosmos started spinning around these 2 printing managers. So, sorry? Maybe we didn't hear things properly. And Prabhupada repeated, finish all 17 books in 2 months. A completely disdainful, morose, impossible was the only answer which Rameshwar Prabhu could speak. And to his surprise, Prabhupada said, impossible is a word in the fool's dictionary. Some other guy must have said it, but Prabhupada repeated it. At that time, later he said, at that moment I decided, if I say no, I give some rationalizing arguments, I am putting my spiritual life on the line. So that time somehow he said, we will do it. And Prabhupada's response was good. Begin from today itself. So they finished the morning walk, they came in the BBT office, and he had a quick meeting with his personnel, all the workers there. And then they came back to Prabhupada armed with more arguments. Sometimes it is good to say yes. They say, okay, okay. Now, we want your presence here if we have some technical queries. Prabhupada said, yeah, I'll stay here for 2 months, no problem. Some of the paintings may not be of the highest standard. Prabhupada said, a blind uncle is better than no uncle. They said, we may have to use some other photographs which are available in the Gaudiya Math. Use anything. It seems like they were ready. Prabhupada was readier than them. Before even they could say anything, he said, yes, 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 get it done. And thus, among the many miracles of the Hare Krishna movement, nowadays we may just go to the Godown and say, I want one set, and the whole set is available. But this is one of the real miracles of the bhakti process, where Guru gives the order and the individual just says, I will do it. Just because it's your order, I will do it. And along with the order comes all the empowerment. It was not unusual for, during those 2 months marathon period, it was not unusual for the typesetter to be sleeping with his head on the typesetting machine, thoroughly exhausted. The painter with a half-finished painting, dozing, because it was actually 2 months, 24/7 for 60 days. They really worked like anything. And finally, when the 17th volume came of the press, imagine their happiness. Their happiness was not so much that we could do it. Their happiness was how much empowered Prabhupada is, how eager he is to give this mercy. So, that's how the mercy of the Panchatattva, which we read in the pages of Chaitanya Charitamrita 500 years ago, time is a big spoiler. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says, I am time, and he also says, Mahati Kal. Sakale Neham Mahata. 2 meanings come from this Mahata Kal. Either a long passage of time, or sometimes not so much time needs to go, but time can bring down something very rapidly. But we see the same potency coming through Srila Prabhupada, and we see the miracle behind the production of this Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki, Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki, Shri Panchatattva Bhagavan ki, Shri Radha Gopinath ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Thank you very much.